Weekends are a good time to escape to the woods. Unless the weekend begins with Friday the 13th. Because 13 is an unlucky number. But out here, so are 1 through 12. Because these are Jason's woods. And nobody leaves them alive. Friday the 13th, Part 3, in 3D. Jason, you can't fight him. You can't stop him. And now, you can't even keep him on the screen. Friday the 13th, Part 3, in 3D. Now, when it comes to killing in Jason's woods, Jason will come to you. Friday the 13th, Part 3, in 3D. A new dimension in terror. It will scare you. Count on it.
All right, guys, we're here for a very special 1982 video. We got two guests here. We got Dave Z from Exploding Heads. What's up, Dave Z?
Hey, so excited to be here. Thanks for having me. And I need time to talk Friday the 13th and hang out with you two.
For sure. And then we also got JP from 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror. What's up, JP?
Yo, what up, dude? So funny enough, this is actually, for being a big fan of this series, this is the first time I've ever reviewed a Friday the 13th film. Anyway.
Nice. I love that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that not crazy?
Awesome, man.
That is
crazy.
crazy. We're here to do Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3 fucking D. All right. Yeah. So pretty ridiculous series, infamous series here. So a little bit of quick history. I'm sure everybody knows Friday the 13th. Sean Cunningham had worked on making some kids movies and stuff, and they didn't do very well. So he saw how slashers were doing. He decided to make Friday the 13th in 1980. Took a little Bay of Blood, took a little Halloween. Boom, we get it as a smash hit. Right away, they decided to make a sequel. Steve Miner had been working with Sean Cunningham for years, so he said, "Why don't you do it, Steve? I'm working on other things." So Steve Miner directed Part 2. It was also a pretty big hit, so they moved right into 3. Around this time, Charlie Band had made a really low-budget movie called Parasite for, $800,000, and it made $5.5 million in 3D. So 3D was kind of taken off. He did another 3D movie, Metal Storm that year. So 3D was doing really big here. Paramount had not made a 3D movie for years, but they decided to put this into 3D. They used a lot of a new technique, invented kind of a new technique with it. There's a lot of back stuff with that, and what happened was we had this movie that was made on like a $2.5 million budget, went on to gross $36 million, was a huge hit. Some people complain because the 3D gimmicks and gags and stuff take away from the movie when you're not watching it in fucking 3D. But yeah, Steve Miner also directed this one. He go on to have a nice career. I think at this time, between 2 and 3, or around 1 and 2, Sean Cunningham was actually making A Stranger Is Watching with Rip Torn, which is kind of a thriller horror film. I think it was released in '82. So yeah. Pop in here. We're going to talk a little bit about Friday the 13th, Part 3. The first one not filmed on the East Coast. It was filmed in California. Same production company, the first 5 movies, though, so it does have that Friday flavor. So who wants to jump right in here and talk a little bit? Anybody?
JP, you got to bust your cherry, man.
Yeah, man. I mean,
we're here. It's honor,
So I remember watching this for like the very first time when I was a kid. So I watched these so out of order when I was growing up. Like, I watched Part 7 first, and then I think Part 9, and then I started going back. I think I did like 6 and 5 and 4, but the first 3 were always like the ones that I saw last. Actually, number 1 was the last one I ever seen. So, but I remember like watching Part 3, and instantly like that opening music always has like been so iconic to me. And it's, I think when you think of like part 3, it really does like stand out as like a unique vibe. I know that a lot of the film is more set in the daylight than most of the Friday the 13th, and that had to do a lot with like getting the 3D right and stuff. I didn't know that it was a 3D film when I was growing up. I just never noticed that it was a 3D film, but it's like insanely obvious now, especially when they're pointing sticks and things at the camera. Yeah. Did anybody actually ever see this in 3D?
Not me. I'm disappointed that I haven't, but no.
I tried. I had even popped out my old DVD thinking that it might look okay with that. It looks like shit. And if you try to watch the Blu-ray with the 3D player and not a 3D TV, also looks like shit. So it doesn't really work.
Yeah, I've watched it in the classic like red and what is it, blue? Red and blue.
Red and blue. Yeah.
I've watched it in that a few times. It's all right. Like if you've ever watched a movie in that stuff, it's like headache inducing. Yeah. I've unfortunately never got a chance to see it in like the newer like modern 3D, where I know you have to have like a 3D TV to see it or a special screening. Those 3D TVs are like extinct at this point. Like you can't even find them used anywhere. Maybe a pawn shop if you're lucky, but
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I've been trying for years to just get a small one to put somewhere in the house that I could watch a 3D movie every once in a while, especially because a lot of the releases have included like that good version of the 3D, like Amityville 2 and this film.
Silent
Madness. Yeah, Christian has it. Christian has the whole thing. He's got the setup and real 3D, you know?
Yeah, Christian was supposed to be here, but unfortunately, something like work's more important than Friday the 13th Part 3. See, that's why he's not a real fan like you two. You know, it's ridiculous.
Right. That's why his days are numbered. His days are numbered, you know?
I know.
And you could have come here and proven he's not a fake Friday fan. I know. And just like I get to do all the time. But this is it. Speaking of that, the reason I haven't watched this is because I'm that diehard of a Friday fan, because of what it is and what this movie means to me and the franchise that it is. I don't want to watch it 3D half-assed. If I'm ever going to watch it 3D, it's going to be an event. Like I had to go somewhere and it's real 3D. It's you know what I mean? I don't want to half-ass it. So it's like it's weird, but it's almost like something in my life I'm looking forward to still at this age. You know, like, you know what? That'll be a great thing to do, to ever see it at a theater in real 3D. But will it happen? Who knows? But
yeah, I've seen it twice on the big screen, and neither time they showed the 3D version, which is kind of like, I wish they would have logistically figured out a way to do it, because I got to see House of Wax in 3D, which was really dope. But yeah, I right away, like, I've always loved the opening of this movie with like the two store owners.
I love that, but I don't love the 6-minute recap of part 2. It's literally 6 fucking minutes. And they do that every time, but I was like, 6 fucking minutes? 6 minutes? Like,
that is a long
6 great minutes. That's epic stuff though at the end of part 2.
Yeah, but I love it. It's perfect for the theater because you've seen 2 last year, so you don't remember
Especially,
shit.
Well, this one came out 16 months after part 2, so this was like the longest time in between. So I could see why people would need a recap, especially because back then, you didn't have instant access to a movie to like refresh your memory on it.
Yeah, of course.
I remember when
we
I was
all recapped back then.
If this was showing on TV, like just this, I would enjoy the recap. But like now, I could do without the recap.
But before we hop into the opening, I do want to mention, because this is kind of the theme of the 82, I kind of realized that, the 50s is bleeding in strong. And it's nice that you mentioned House of Wax, because that was 53, 54, if I'm not mistaken off the top of my head, along with Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think we're both 3D films. And now we're kind of rehashing again that repeat in the 80s, or was it the sequel to Creature? I believe the first Creature was at one point in 3D as well. So it's kind of the 30 years later, we're redoing it. And it wasn't the only 3D one, and the year later we'd have Jaws in 3D, so...
Yeah, and then that happened again too, like in the thousands.
Drive Angry and stuff.
Yeah.
But 82, '82, I believe, is when Amityville 3D came out and Jaws 3D and this. So all
83, 83 is Amityville 3D and Jaws 3D.
Okay, so it was right. Okay.
This is Parasite.
83 it is. Wow.
And Friday 2 or 82.
Okay.
Parasite this. So yeah, and maybe Metal Storm. I don't remember where that's at. But 82, 83 is the 3D. You know what I mean? Some of these probably were playing in theaters still in 83, stuff like that. So it was just like swamped with 3D stuff.
Yeah,
and Friday started the gimmick.
Fan. Yeah. Yeah.
For part 3 being in 3D, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
What were we going to say about Charles Band?
I was going to say he sold Metal Storm. Was it Metal Storm that was 3D?
Yeah, that's the one that they saw how well he did with Parasite, and then they were like, "We're going to give you a shitload of money." And they started giving him more money for Metal Storm, and he made a nice little pretty penny off that. And actually, it was something that helped his career big time.
Yeah. Wasn't it Paramount?
I don't remember exactly who the company was.
I can't remember. I was just reading this book, and he talked about that at length.
Yeah. Yeah, he mentions that a lot because it was such a big kind of thing for him. There's like, I don't know where to go to about like all this stuff. There's so many things we could hop into, but like obviously the inconsistency carries on from part 2. And I know everybody mentions it, but it is really weird that Jason is in the beginning, you see him in the overalls, and he's obviously stealing clothes like Terminator or any other kind of indestructible killing force. But why the fuck is he bald now? Like, it makes literally no sense. Like, the Friday the 13th movies, especially the first 3, were really trying to find their footing and what the fuck they were. And if it would have went to the original idea of having Jenny in the insane asylum, which is what they possibly planned, or the psychiatric ward, or whatever the fuck, I guarantee we would not have this Jason that we have, this Juggernaut Jason. We'd have a more methodical Michael Myers type character, because in part 2, he's over here using the phone book to find fucking Alice and doing all sorts of weird shit, pulling kettles off the things. They really had not really figured out who the fuck Jason was until kind of this one in part 4, especially kind of solidified that. So whatever the hell we got here was kind of a lucky thing, or we wouldn't have the Jason that people like, honestly.
Yeah, because if they did go with that, this was supposed to be the end. But if they would have went with Jenny in the asylum, we wouldn't have got Hockey Mask Jason, most likely.
No way.
Right. And that's probably why, just because of the hockey mask in this movie, that's probably why they continue to make them. It helped make this one successful. Yeah, I mean,
it was very iconic. Like that. I mean, most people, like, if you just even ask a casual like movie fan, not even like a hardcore movie fan, like when Jason got his hockey mask, like they're probably gonna say part 1 or 2. Like they most people have no idea that there were 2 movies where he didn't have a hockey mask, because it's so ingrained in the character.
And you know what? Back to what you were saying too, Dave, about the way his style, like the style of the first 2, and like Jason, the way he was in the second one. This is the last movie where he still behaves like methodical. At all. Like, he lurks in the barn. See, that's the thing about this one. First of all, do you guys think he went to the barn to be his new house? His new place he was going to shack up? I think it's possible. So he's got to stay somewhere. He's out of the shack that he ran off from. Yeah. So now he comes in, and he had his dumb that he's bald. I don't know why they decided to change his stature.
It's such a weird thing.
Like, they could have easily just done one scene where, like, he's messing with his hair and it all falls out, and he's just like...
Yeah.
2 seconds. Yeah, 2 seconds. Of just a big pile of hair on the ground. 2 seconds.
They didn't really ever like to show Jason doing anything other than like picking up a weapon. Right. Or like standing there.
That's it. And he bleeds a little bit on his mask, gets up and goes. And then you see him, next time you see him, he's behind the clothes. Yeah. You know, trying to get the clothes.
But they do give you a nice shot of him with like behind the clothes without any mask or anything, which is pretty cool, because you don't really get, like,
you could see it now.
You don't see him till his face till the end, you know.
Well, also there's a shot when he's looking out the barn before he gets the mask, and they show it, and you can see it now more than ever before. I mean, I'm grateful that they thought to put that mask on him, because honestly, at that time they could have probably just had the stunt, just Richard Brooker there without a mask, and say, just open it up, no one's ever going to see. It's going to be a faraway shot. But it's a good thing they did, because, you know, now with this was like, what is it? It's a 4K, it's a 2K scan or whatever it is. Yeah. It isn't a 4K per se that's out yet, but we still have the best we can get. And you could see all that stuff, and it works. And I like it. And again, that's what I was saying earlier. He still does different things in this movie. He acts a little bit like he does in 2, and he plans around things and stuff, and does some weird things, honestly. But after the next one, he just becomes a shark, a killing machine. Yeah. So this is like
he does
the
some
last
weird,
one.
Like, sexual things too.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to talk about that. I need Dave DZ to explain that to me.
Well, first of all, what were they saying happened in part 2 when they said that reports of cannibalism and sexual mutilation are still unconfirmed? That's what they say on the freaking TV.
Dude, I didn't ever realize that.
Watching.
In the beginning of this one you're talking about?
Really?
Yes.
Acts of cannibalism makes sense because Jason could have been eating the bodies because what else is he going to eat?
And sexual mutilation.
I guess. Yeah, I mean.
But I'm going to go back to a real life case. I doubt that the Friday the 13th people thought that much. You know, the West Memphis 3, they thought that they had sexually mutilated the bodies too, but in reality, just a bunch of snapping turtles came and ate the kids' pieces off. So if you leave bodies out, animals will eat the soft bits first.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, that's true. And often on those first bit of news reports before any autopsies were performed and stuff like that, it's always sensationalized.
Yeah,
of course.
So it could be that as well. But I do wonder, like, you know, because this film takes place right at the next day, right? It's like Saturday the 14th, something.
Yeah.
Which is always funny that it's Saturday.
Right.
The timeline of Friday the 13th is pure nonsense.
It is such nonsense.
It's not as bad as a lot of the other franchises, but it's nonsense.
Well, they bring it back when they can. After this one, after this in part 4, they're able to bring it back in future installments. But there's no other way to do it here because it's day after day, which is so cool that part 2, part 3, and part 4 are freaking consecutive.
Especially the opening of part 4.
Yeah.
I love how they
crane shot. Isn't there a good crane shot in the beginning? It goes over the bodies, and this one has some good camera work too. It's obviously a bigger production. The first 5 Fridays all day, I think, are vastly entertaining, and you could tell by 6 that it wasn't the same company doing it. And I have a drop off. People are like, "Why?" It's like, I don't realize it's not that Jason is what I like. I love Jason, but it's not what I'm focused on. It's just the style of filmmaking and the certain exploitation and sleaze, and just that the first 2 have something that this one doesn't have, and the later ones don't have, but it still has enough DNA to feel like it. The first 2 feel regional, I think, and this one, it's definitely a little bigger. But I still like that kind of fake like East Coast feel that they do here. It still works for me.
Yeah, and honestly, I kind of like Higgins Haven in general, like the barn and the house and stuff like that, in the little store that they at the beginning. I like to think of Crystal Lake as this giant ass lake that there's just all these different like pockets of places in there, and Jason just kind of like roams around, and that's why he's not discovered ever, because he's just so big and he's just going to different little parts.
Yeah, and this is probably just supposed to be another area on the lake. You know, part 1 took place here. Part 2, we knew, was right next to where part 1 took place. They said because they had the no trespassing, they were right next to it. And this is just another section there. I guess, you know, he got up. I
feel like he probably moved further away in this one. I feel like he traveled further for this one.
Well, he knows it's over now. His shack's going to be discovered. All that stuff's going to be in there. Candles, his mother's head. You would thought that he would have grabbed his mother's head and took it.
He should be carrying it around to the head with like a bag.
And brought it to the barn and set it up. And I'm telling you, that is the one thing I'm going to critique now thinking about it. That would have been a great thing to do in this movie, is to have him take that head with him, you know, and then bring it to the barn, put it in the hay.
You could actually set a movie in like right after part 4 where there's just like a crazy aftermath of all the, like, because you think about all the carnage in those 4 movies that are just like a weekend, like that would have destroyed that.
But you know what I'd do in part 4? If we were going to make from 4 to 5, what I would do is I would have them searching the grounds and everything like that. And I would have Tommy Jarvis, like at 12 or 13, kill a couple of the people doing it just for the fuck of it, just to show that he was fucked up.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'm down with
that.
That
would have been great.
I would do it. Then
I hate that. I hate that tease and it never like plays out. It's so
because the end of 5 is so cool when he's like looks crazy and shit. I'm like, I love 5. 5's so fun because it's just pure sleaze trash, and I'm like, yeah. But I watching all these, they do reflect the directors a bit. You know, Cunningham, I don't think to be honest, I like some of his movies, especially New Kids, but I don't think Cunningham has like a definitive style. He's definitely doing whatever.
No, I feel like he's just mimicking things he's seen.
Yeah, he does a pretty good job at
things
it.
That he's
he
done.
does.
Yeah. I think once he does something, he sticks with it.
Yeah.
Even with the composer, even with Manfredini in all of his movies,
I'm not sure Miller has his own. Steve Miner has his own style either. Like it is there, but I don't see any comparisons if you look at House or Lake Placid. I think Lake Placid and House have similarities, and I think Friday 2 and 3 have similarities, but I don't think all of them have like a complete shadow, or even H2O. They don't really feel like
H2O looks so damn different from like anything he's done. And
H2O just looks like the time. Yeah.
But if you
I will say that doing part 1, him being involved in part 2 as the director in part 2 and 3, like does make it feel like that it's a follow-up. But except for that's what's crazy about the Bob thing, because it's the same fucking director.
It makes no sense. Like it's so weird. The scriptwriter actually went on to be like a major script consultant for Quentin Tarantino. So like they were like a husband and wife pair that worked on a bunch of scripts, and the husband I think really wrote tons of shit for Tarantino. So like or script consultant on a bunch of shit. So it's insane. It's like a big name in there too. So it's just like weird. I don't know if these people gave too much of a fuck about that. But Miner did care enough that he said that when they were going to do the psychiatric thing, they're like, fuck that. The people want the summer camp. The people want that, and that's what they want.
He was right about that.
He was 100% right. Later, they got away from that. Before I forget, though, like as I said, the first 3 Fridays feel more like almost like a family group effort. But when we start getting the directors and the time, they start to reflect the director. Tommy 4 is a Joe Zito movie through and through. If you look at his Blood Rage from 80 and his Prowler from 81 and his other stuff, it's Joe Zito, man. It's mean-spirited, it's dark, it's gory. And Danny Steinman, who did, he worked on The Unseen and did some other movies, it's sleazy, it's kind of dirty. And then Tom McLaughlin, One Dark Night. So it's more universal, family-friendly horror. They all reflect their time. And Buchler, we get to him, he's just like, I come from Full Moon, I can do all these crazy effects, let's just make it batshit. So they get weirder and weirder. And
yeah, I think that part 6 totally feels like McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what he brought. And Buchler, you know what he did do, though? It seems to me that part 7, not to skip way ahead, but that movie seems to attempt to recapture the beginning. Like it definitely feels more so than 6 for sure. Yeah. It feels more like, it's something about, even though it was bad choices with the music sometimes, because it was half Manfredini and the other half was the other guy, Malin, and they spliced old stuff together. That was kind of a wreck, but they went back to the camp. They stayed there instead of doing, the other ones kind of left the camp, right? Part 5. Part 6 was there, but it was like,
it mostly takes place in the town, like around the camp.
Right.
But one thing I always appreciated about Buchler and his part 7 is that he went and actually designed Jason to incorporate all the like mayhem that went into his body.
Only a special effects guy would do that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
They don't always make the best director, but they are very good with detail. You know what I mean? On that kind of shit. So, and I think he did a good job. I thought he was a pretty good director, honestly. He directed one of the greatest films ever made, Ghoulies Go to College. So
what do you guys actually think of the look of Jason in this one?
I actually really like his look.
I like it too. It's scary. It is definitely
when he takes the mask off, bro, just to be
dude,
creepy. Yeah. Like that's like really one of the only times we see Jason like actively thinking. But it is just so scary. Yeah.
Well, he did it in part 2.
Yeah.
He laid in the bed and waited to get discovered, and then jumped up and scared the shit out of him. He's done little things.
Yeah.
Little things.
I do like it.
But I hear you. The mask thing is awesome. It's tremendous. And what you were saying earlier about the same family, 1, 2, and 3, you're right about those 3, because this is the last one in the franchise to have a final chase with a final girl, and that's it. 1, 2, and 3 is one chase, and they're all the best, probably the best 3 in the franchise. I feel they probably are, and they're all one person. And chasing one girl, one final girl. After part 4, it became kids and then boyfriends and all this shit.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that about this movie. It is part of that same family. It isn't exactly like 1 and 2, but it does follow a lot of the same beats. And this one's nice and simple. This is like a plug and play. If you're gonna watch a Friday the 13th movie, just to kick back and watch it, have a few beers, take a few hits, whatever you do, or just be sober and just kick it and put it in, this is the one to do because it's very light. It isn't loud. There isn't too much going on. It's a great high movie. It's not overly
It's a great
dramatic.
high movie.
Great high. It is.
Yeah.
It's
easy to watch high.
Watching it this time, because I always go up and down, like which ones are my favorites and stuff like that. But watching it this time, I was just like, man, this is such comfort food. Like this, it has everything that I love in a Friday the 13th and doesn't really have any of the stuff I don't like in a Friday the 13th. And I like the biker gang and you know, I honestly, I don't know how you guys feel about Shelley, but I've never
I like Shelley.
I like Shelley.
I do not. He's frustrating. He's frustrating because he doesn't have to be that way. He doesn't have to put himself.
That's why he's not liked.
Funny guy. I know, but that's what's frustrating about it. If he's,
I like him better than the funny guy from the first one. The funny guy from the first one just seems like a dickhead. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, Shelley's like okay. My thing with Shelley is like, people get so upset that he makes like he pretends to be dead or something. I'm like, so what, man? He's having fun. Like, why doesn't other like, come on, bro?
He's clearly annoying and he's clearly a fucking idiot, but he's also a young kid. And he was 18 years old when he made the movie. So I understand that he's annoying. I mean, I don't think he would go to the effort to make the special effects that he did, which they carried on to the fourth movie too. And like Corey Feldman's like, I'm doing effects. Like, I don't know, this monster kid shit where everybody's just doing effects and stuff. And this is also the first one, I'm getting off topic here, where they like explicitly shout out Friday the 13th with Tom Savini and the Fangoria. Like, they get worse as the movies get worse as they go on about doing shit like that. In general, movies just get worse about it. But no, Shelley is he's definitely this series Franklin. I love Franklin because without Franklin,
I love Franklin.
There's literally no comedy, or there's I don't want to say comedy.
Levity.
There's no. Like
it is comedy.
He makes sense. Like if you were in Franklin's, but everybody likes to think that they're not the most annoying character. Every once in a while, you are that guy. Like you are the fucking guy. If they brought your ass in a wheelchair in 100-degree weather, you'd be Franklin too. No doubt.
They went swimming.
Yeah, and then there's not even a swimming hole.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that.
No.
He thinks they went swimming.
But like,
I've always 100% agreed with you when you like have said that in the past. I'm like, dude, Dave makes so much sense. Like
Dustin Mills always said that too, and I was like, you're right, man. I like Franklin. He also makes me laugh, and like
he
also
great.
Gets cut, dude. If I got cut by some fucking weird guy, dude, I'd be something like, you're driving me to the hospital. I'm getting a fucking hepatitis shot right now. Give me a tetanus shot, a hepatitis shot. Give me everything. But
he's funny. His reactions are funny. Like that's my humor. People that are bugging out that way all the time and nervous about everything and make big deals. To me, they're funny because they're so dramatic and because they're bugging out. But here's the problem with Shelley. Here's why I don't like Shelley. They get it wrong, and let me explain why. Usually, a guy that's the class clown that is trying to use that as his breakthrough to make friends and to make girls like him is not the same guy that's going to put himself down and apologize for his looks. It's one or the other. If you remember how people were as kids, if somebody's down, the class clown never does that. They never break character. It wouldn't work for their whole gimmick.
Breaks his facade, honestly.
Right.
He's probably the saddest person. He's the saddest person, but you will never see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Shelley. I think Shelley's on the spectrum, bro.
Yeah, Shelley's definitely on the spectrum.
The only thing I liked about him was when he friggin' says, they've gone too far this time, and he stood up for the bikers. That was his only good moment. But think about speaking of his hair,
he just doesn't mean much harm. Like he I don't think he realizes what he's doing.
I do think Shelley is on the spectrum. I'm not saying he means harm,
but he's not going to get laid acting that way, and he wants to get laid. You're not going to freaking make friends. But check it. Look at that guy in Prom Night. Look at that guy in Prom Night, the first one, who's overweight, and he ends up picking up the chick. And the guy in friggin' what do you call it? My Bloody Valentine. He's a big guy.
Yeah, but he's the party animal. He's their friend. He's the guy who but Shelley doesn't have it because Shelley's on the spectrum. Shelley's got a picture of his mom in the wallet. Shelley's a simple guy. He's a sweet guy, but he's also there's one part which
he got no game, bro.
Shelley is when Vera turns him down and he's like, bitch. And you're just like, what? Did you just call her a bitch under his breast?
She was nice about it.
Yeah.
She's my favorite. She's my favorite.
That's what makes me think
I love her.
Vera's the best because she's the coolest and she's tough. And then when she's like, I'm so mad right now, like, what are you gonna do though? That's exactly what you could do. You're like, I'm a fucking
and she's
get beat up.
She's a spicy Latina.
Yeah.
Indeed, she plays one at least. Yeah. She's.
Right.
I like the cast. Honestly, I pretty much like all the cast as far as the characters. Rick is my least favorite character.
Rick's
Everybody
a dickhead.
else.
Is Rick the love interest?
Rapey Rick over here.
Yeah.
He's like, let's fuck. I know you almost got sexually assaulted by a mutant in the woods, but
I can only take so many cold showers.
After like 2 minutes. He was with her for 2 minutes.
He's like,
Give it some time, homie. Come on.
No, so I think when we do the cast, we should just go over the entire cast, and when we talk about them, we'll talk about their kills too to get it over with. So I think we should start with Edna and Harold. The only thing I want to say about Harold. Yeah, no, that's Chuck and Chili.
No,
but,
Edna and Harold.
Edna and Harold are the first.
Come
and the
on,
funny
now.
thing about Harold is he is such the Carl of Aqua Teen, stereotypical character. Where he's like, where am I going here, honey? He's like eating food and shit, but he's like lighthearted. But right when you see him, you're like, this guy's wearing a fat suit. Like you could tell the fat suit because you know that like it's such obvious. He's like wearing like a suit. And you know he's gonna get killed with it. Right?
He doesn't even look fat.
No, he's not a fat guy. He's just wearing a suit. Like I've seen it before in movies where like there's a shootout and then like they'll cut to a guy and he's like, "Why is he all puffy?" And he's like,
"It's just because they had that one line where the doctor said you have to lose weight."
Right.
Like, oh, we have to make him fat.
He's a gross son of a bitch, though.
Why? Because he's going through his store, eating and taking all those stuff that he's selling.
Taking a dump. There's a lot of stuff.
They're trying to make him a slob, and they're trying to make her old and cranky.
Yeah.
Right?
But she ain't
it doesn't
old.
work on either. Right,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she's not old and cranky, and he's not a slob. But they try. That is the funny thing that they try
They're
to
both
make
actually kind of likable. I don't dislike them at all.
Right.
But they would take Edna and like put her times 10 and put her in part 5 as that like nasty mother.
Ethel.
That's like the same dynamic with like the kid on the bike, Junior or whatever the fuck his name is.
It always that's
the
so
same.
funny you say that. It always reminded me of them too.
It's the same thing. Like, but Harold's kills mediocre. And Edna's is not.
What the hell's up with that snake?
Oh, we still see it. Yeah, the coil in it.
He goes into like his cabinet and there's a fucking snake in there. And then he's like, I'm gonna just leave this here and run to the toilet. Like,
who runs
scared the shit out of him.
They killed all my
scared the
pets.
shit out of him, literally.
Out of your house?
That's what happened.
Dude, if that's
I don't know.
It scared the shit out. If that snake killed my rabbits, I'm gonna wring that fucker's neck. Because it's gonna kill the rest of your animals. Was it a rattlesnake?
Where is the snake's neck exactly?
It was a rattlesnake.
I don't know.
Where was the snake's neck?
On its
it was on a
second and
fucking
third
neck,
vertebrae.
dog.
It's second and third.
Yeah.
All neck.
You're right.
It's fucking meta.
It's a bad effect. That's the problem with the 3D stuff.
You can
I
see
wish
like
it
the
wasn't 3D.
wires. I don't even.
Yeah,
understand.
dude.
They should have just got
the
a
issue
real
with
snake
this
and
movie.
provoked it, like the first movie. They would have the first movie. They would have just got a real snake and cut it in half.
I know, right? They're probably killed. Yeah.
There's a lot of people taking shits in Friday the 13th movies.
don't know what
and
it-
not
it's
wiping
weird,
their
dude.
ass. It's a thing.
It's so weird.
Crashes
it's
in
like,
windows.
It's John
shits with
Cunningham's
no ass
notes
wipes.
on every movie. I'd love to see him like add a shit scene. Like
Yeah,
he's got
shit
some
is
weird
funny.
Yeah, like he's like people like the poopy. It's just like no, Sean. I know. He's like add it in. Like I'd love to see his notes on
And
the movie.
get that damn
weird.
hockey mask off him.
Yeah, I do
It's
feel
those
like it would be
producers.
weird ass notes. Yeah.
No, it's Sadoff and it's Mancuso, who came out of Buffalo, by the way. But it's them. They like that shit, and they freaking just like he wanted a Ginny to pee in part 2. They said, "I want a scene where Ginny pees." Right. So it's just something. It's their own humor. Probably they make each other.
I don't think
laugh.
it's humor. I think there's some fetish shit in there because I don't think it's that funny. You know what I mean? Like it's not funny.
In retrospect, it's funny to me that they did it in all
the
the movies.
enchiladas is funny in part 5.
Oh yeah,
That's funny.
damn enchiladas is the best.
Yeah, well, the fact that no one wipes their ass is funny. It's a thing that you only notice if you watch all the movies enough time. It's like they did it on purpose. You know,
It's also
they had to.
classic to get killed when you're using the bathroom or
'Cause you're
shower because
vulnerable.
you're vulnerable and isolated. I also want to talk about that they like at the first early Friday the 13th. I know people are like, well, you know, they got punished because they had sex, and it's like I do see what you're saying because Jason died when people are having sex, and that's basically the motive of the killer. But it's not.
That was
because they had
definitely the
sex.
motive of Pamela, I think.
Yeah, but that's like all like
no doubt.
revisionist history when they're like, if you have sex, you'll die in this movie. It's like I know you saw Scream and you wrote all your papers, but after like a lot of movies started ripping it off, but I don't think that was the intention from stuff like Black Christmas and like Halloween. There's no way that
It
these
was
people-
more coincidental.
I think so. But you're isolated when you have sex, and plus you want to get in all that nudity because it's an exploitation movie. So you hire young, attractive people to fuck and die.
Right.
Well, what else? That's when they're vulnerable. What else do teenagers do that are out there? They're going to get high, they're going to get drunk, and eventually they're going to be hooking up if they get lucky. Yeah. So, boom. So that's if they're together or they're alone, they're vulnerable. It's just common sense. I mean, that probably existed long before slashers. Just any horror movie. Just.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been tied together from the days of the drive-in, right? You would go out to the drive-in and get as far as you could with the girl that you're with in a double feature of fucking the giant Gila monster and killer shrews.
Yeah, 2 amazing classics. But I like those. They're fine. They're fine movies. I think Shrews is better than Gila Monster.
I love Shrews.
Except that one scene with that poor black guy's on the thing. I was just like that's so dated. That's poor.
It's
poor
so dated.
It's bad. But I mean, what are you gonna hold it to like nowadays? But the next people I think that get killed are the 2 of the bikers get finished off. Fox, I think she's fun. She's a fun character.
I love Fox. Fox might be one of my favorite characters in the movie. I just think
feels good.
Yeah, she just has such a good energy about her, charisma. Yep. I remember hearing an interview with her saying that she was so uncomfortable even talking about a condom in the gas station. Just so unlike her character, you know what I mean? She actually died back in 2016, I think.
Really? That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a nice tribute of her though in the Friday the 13th video game where they put a model of her character from this movie in the game that you could play as.
Nice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, really cool.
How old is Loco supposed to be?
I don't know, but don't you think he looks like the greaser from Grease 1 and Grease 2? The bad guy that they always messed with?
I can't
Every time I see him, that's who I think about. Yeah.
I mean, he's got a wicked receding hairline to be along with these other people in the movie. You know what I mean? Harold's hair's looking better, and Harold's fucking 45.
I don't think he was that old, dude.
I'm not trying to be a dick.
I don't think anybody was that old, to be honest.
The bikers are a strange addition to the movie, but they always stuck out to me. I always remember
he was born in 55.
So he was 25, 23. It's fine. It's about early, late 20s. I know that we don't want to talk. Ali doesn't technically die until the very end, but he's probably the most memorable one. That's a silly scene.
That actually
from
the hacking is very brutal.
Where he's beating him with the thing?
Yeah, well, why does he do that? That is the weirdest thing in all of Friday the 13th movies. Is that Jason, just for no reason, he punches them. He goes down. He just I guess tries to hack his arm off, and then he leaves him for dead. And then he comes back, right? And then he comes back.
Because they did not know. Jason was not defined. Jason was not defined by now. They did not know what they were doing. They were doing anything. And if you watch Jason, Booker, he's great, but he's getting hurt. He's he gets his leg cut. He's
see, I like that. See, that's 1, 2. Actually, it also happens in 4. He does show pain in 4.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about the early ones. And actually, Jason is backing up in this movie when Chris is coming at him with that just same thing that Ginny was doing with the chainsaw. In the other movies, after the first 4, there's no more of that. Jason's not backing down to anything, not even guns. And I miss that. That's what I like about this, is the human aspect of Jason.
I think it's just natural progression too, though. Once you show him hanging and just not dying from it and getting, it's he becomes an unstoppable force after a while.
I did want to make sure. Did you guys know that dude? Ali was actually in Fright Night as one of those 2 bouncers that tries to stop him in the dance club.
Really?
Yeah, he's one of the dudes that gets ripped apart by Jerry Dandridge. Yeah, it gets messed up. That's the only other movie I could see him in. I was that's wild. So that dude just did not have good luck. I don't think he was in very much besides those 2.
And it's a shame too, because I think he's a good actor. He's fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of my favorite.
Does anyone stand out to you guys as a bad actor? And people always talk about acting in horror movies, and I always say I don't notice it when it's bad. But usually the slashers I grew up on and all the 80s stuff, and even the Friday series, we're just talking this movie, but does anyone stand out to you and say, oh yeah, just not a good actor, didn't like the delivery of that line? I don't think so. I mean, maybe I'm biased because my love for the movie, but what do you guys think?
No, I don't think that the acting is ever really too bad in the Friday the 13th films. I think everybody does a great job in this one, particularly.
It's kind of a shame that most of these actors didn't really go on to do much at all, to be honest, except there's one here that I do want to mention, David Wiley, who plays the, and I would have never known this. I would have never recognized him unless I looked him up. He plays the Crazy Ralph kind of ripoff, Abel.
The Doomsayer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Guess who he is?
Like
you guys would
Cousin
never
Luke.
guess. He has another.
He's a wrestler.
No, but he has a very
okay.
memorable role in another horror movie.
Oh,
He
wait a
plays-
minute.
Leprechaun 2.
No, he plays the judge in Society. Oh, a
Really?
beauty
Oh, I
mark,
would-
and he takes the beauty mark and puts it on that. Takes it from his face and puts it
Wow.
on there. It's him, but he's all cleaned up, so it doesn't even look. This dude has been acting since the 50s, and yeah, he's pretty
Wow.
good in that. And he's actually, I hate that he's replacing Crazy Ralph because Crazy Ralph's one of my favorite renditions. Because Crazy Ralph literally just feels like a real drunk that they hired, and he's great
Right.
for that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
this guy is like, you could tell, like a real actor, and he's fine. But just knowing that he was in Society kind of blew my mind, and like you could see it in his face. But he's like a sophisticated aristocrat.
Isn't
Yeah, it's
that
pretty wild. Yeah, like
Wow,
I'm looking at his
man.
credits and stuff. And so, what do you guys think of him actually?
I think he's
Like,
fun.
you think-
I don't
you
have
think
a
he got-
problem.
So, do you think
Well,
that's
look
like
at-
a human eyeball?
Yeah, I think it's Paul's eyeball.
Who's
because
Paul?
he's the only one they didn't from part 2. Because remember,
Oh,
this
okay.
is the next day
Yeah,
after,
yeah,
and they're
yeah.
collecting the bodies and everything else, and nobody's found. So that's my theory. Because
Oh, you think it's?
You know
it looked
me,
like
I'm
a
gonna
cow
have-
eyeball. It was definitely a cow eyeball. It was a real eyeball. That was a cow eyeball.
you're that familiar with
cow?
cow eyeballs?
Yeah, I
How is
dissected
that
Have you ever
armor?
seen that French film where they cut a cow eyeball?
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't want to either.
Santa, whatever it is, they do the blade up to the eye.
Oh my
and it
God, it's
does the
horrible.
to the
I don't
eye
want to
with the
see
moon.
that.
It's
Jeez, what is
real.
that?
It's evil.
It's a real
I don't want to
eyeball.
even think that it happened. I don't want to even hear it. Oh, I can't
it's-
handle that. It's
it's-
terrible.
It's disturbing. That's for sure.
It is disturbing. I can't even talk about it. I certainly wouldn't want to see it. Talking about it's enough. But Abel, dude, I don't mind Abel because it's a Friday the 13th movie. And let's just say another movie came out this time. Let's say in 82, one of the plethora of slashers that were coming out at this time, another movie came out, and the same thing happened, and there was this Abel cat in the road, and the same thing. Everybody would say, oh, geez, what a ripoff of Crazy Ralph. And you know what I mean? But just because you're Friday the 13th, you're allowed to rip off your shit.
Right.
So
I
that's
don't
why
hate
I
it.
give it a
It's just-
pass.
It's
I
just
would
fun.
actually like
It
a
just makes me
Doomsayer
laugh.
in all of them. I've always liked the Doomsayer.
It's fun. Yeah. It's fun.
There's
Even if it becomes self-aware by the time part 8 comes around and they have the guy that's doing like the Crazy Ralph, it's almost...
We were already self-aware in this one. We had the Doomsayer
They started
replacing
it.
Ralph. We had the Fangoria
Right.
magazine, and then by part 6, they're
Yeah.
being like, they're just like, hey,
Well, yeah, 6
you
changed it.
know, like,
Don't even get
Next
Dave
level.
started on that.
Dave 8-6.
Well, I don't hate it. It's just it changed things. It went into another direction, and the self-aware and everything else started in that one. But for this movie here, I'll just say that it's. I didn't say anything at the beginning, but I told the story before. This is special to me because this is my introduction to become a huge horror fan. This was it. I fell asleep. I woke up in the middle of the night. I was being babysat by my older brother, and I literally just caught the final chase. And it blew me the fuck. To this day, every time I watch this, it takes me back to being a kid and seeing this and like, what am I watching? This dude with a hockey mask and one thing after another and this epic chase scene. And I will say, I think part 1, 2, and 3 are the best chase scenes in slashers after Halloween 78. Just one man's opinion. But anyway, I think
Probably agree with
I
that.
I saw the chase here. Blew me away. It scared me, but I was in love. Next day I woke up, looked it up on the TV guide. It's called Friday the 13th Part 3. And that's where it began.
Had you heard of Friday the 13th at that point?
I can't imagine that I wouldn't have. I was freaking 11 years old, or how could I not have? But
Yeah,
you
I'm
know what
sure
I mean?
somebody on the playground had to have talked about it by then.
I don't know about talking about the movies because I probably would have saw it. I probably just heard the title because I watched Cujo and Exorcist before. There was a couple, so I was already slowly coming into it. But then that happened, and then literally like 2 months later, after this aired on HBO, the final chapter was coming out. So right when I discovered it, then we get this,
Did you
final
go to the
chapter.
theater
We
for
were
that?
so excited. Yeah, that was the first time I went to the theater. to see a Friday was the final chapter opening with my father, and I was 12 years old.
What'd your dad think?
Incredible.
What'd your dad think?
My dad actually has fun. He actually enjoys the Friday the 13th movies. He saw part 5 with me in the theater the next year, and he also, of all things, watched freaking, was it the remake? I think it was the remake. I think he saw the remake with me when it came out because I happened to be in Buffalo for a few days and it came out and I was going to see it and he went with me. So he doesn't really watch horror movies and slasher movies, but for whatever reason, he enjoyed watching the Friday movies with me. But yeah, so I have a love for this movie, but this is the thing, like I was saying about Abel. Being in this movie, it's okay. I think that this movie, the fact that it's a Friday the 13th, people are harder on it. I think if this movie was just called something else, and it was just a slasher movie that came out in 1982 about a girl that survived the previous attack, and it was this exact same movie, people would praise it. The only reason people critique it is because it's part of the Friday the 13th, and it's not like 1 or 2 or 4. And I mean, I think people do love this movie. Some people, it's some people's favorites. But I also think that some people kind of take it for granted. But I think if it wasn't a Friday film, people would be talking about it like it was freaking, okay, not like My Bloody Valentine. But you get my drift, I think. People would be higher on it.
I don't have any problem with this one. Rewatching it, I was like, oh, this is way more fun than I remembered. And I hadn't seen it in a while. But I mean, they're just easy to watch. The first 5, like I said, are very easy to watch. And I feel like this one flows really well. I think that it just has decent, solid characters. I don't think it gets too ridiculous, but I do think they get too stupid as they go on sometimes. I don't know why. You know what I mean? When they try to like bend the formula too much, they're fun, but they're just stupid. And I think there's just something simple about these. I don't know, because people do sometimes nitpick slasher movies a lot. Like all these movies are clunky in a lot of ways. You know, there's just shit that wouldn't happen the way it does, but it's easily forgivable because that's just what the movie is, and that's kind of what the genre is at the same time. Almost all the movies are guilty of it. I mean, horror movies.
Yeah, I think like one of the biggest like nitpicks that I see a lot and that I totally get is like when the bodies start like falling out of trees and stuff like that in the final act, or like coming through.
Well, they did that in Halloween.
Right, yeah.
They did it in Halloween 78. If you can do it in the Granddaddy, you can do it now. You know what I mean? Look at all that funhouse shit they did in Halloween 78. It was just as egregious as this. It really was. And both, in those franchises, both of them, Halloween and Friday, they did even more. They exploited it further and further. As you know,
and they started to rip each other off, too.
Yes, they just went back and forth for years.
Yeah, isn't that funny how like like by Halloween 4, like it's a straight rip off of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where like in Jason Goes to Hell, where they just started ripping off like the Freddy and Halloween mythology, where it's like, we need some sort of family tie in here. And it's like, don't do this.
Yeah.
It took till the 9th movie to fuck that up. But Halloween did it in the 2nd, and Nightmare on Elm Street started bringing in Freddy's mom at like part 3. But then like Jason couldn't wait. They had to get new lines like, we got to get some family members in this fucking movie. And I guess you think you realize like how far you can go. And then you're just like, I guess we're fucked. I guess we got to pull something like this out.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it really is the case of that with like, because as much as in hindsight we love the formula now, like at the time people were tired of the formula.
Yeah.
As they went on, you know what I mean? They wanted something different. Maybe not Dave Z, but most
they want
people.
it different and they want it the same.
You
can't win. You can't win.
It was
right.
Yeah, but it was huge. When part 1, 2, 3 and the final chapter came out, people couldn't get enough of the formula. Like I said, when I went to see the final chapter at the theater, it's an experience I'll never forget. Because granted, I'm only 12, but obviously it's Friday night, it's opening night, it's going to be a lot of teens in there, and everybody. It was the closest thing to the opening of Scream 2, that BS, which would never happen, of course. But I'm telling you. There's 2 things I can compare it to. When I went to see this movie that night, and when I went to see, of all things, The Phantom Menace when that first dropped. But those 2 experiences. But when I went to see the final chapter, dude, everybody in the place was just off the wall. There was kids running around. It was mayhem. And every time Jason killed somebody,
that's how it was. That's how it was when I
seen interactive.
The remake. Like the remake was such a big experience for me. I think like me and like 8 of my friends went, and like we couldn't even get seats next to each other because it was completely sold out. Like it was insane. the most people I ever was in a theater with was that movie. And whenever like the title card came up, like it was the loudest, like craziest, like insane cheer I ever heard. It was that, and like honestly, it was it chapter 1 was like another.
Oh,
Freddy vs. Jason, I remember being pretty pumped. That was pretty pumped crowd because they split us.
Lots of fun.
You sat on the Freddy side or the Jason side. I remember that. I sat on the Freddy side. I must say.
Oh, you motherfucker!
I don't think I would anymore.
See, I saw that in the drive-in, so it was a completely different experience. But it was packed there too, and people were just like beeping, and it was just going nuts. Like that was such a like important, like fun movie for the fans, even though like, you know, it didn't totally work, but I like it.
So
well, I'll tell you, everyone that I saw everyone on opening night since I saw the final chapter.
Nice.
That's how much fun I had that I said I'll never miss again. Every fucking one.
And you progressively got more disappointed as they went on. You're like C5, well, you're like 6, you're like
the last 3.
I know 5. Everybody hated 5 when it came out because that was a weird mentality. People just like focused on one thing and hated something. Like same thing with Halloween 3. It was weird.
Yeah, it's like they couldn't understand that Jason might wear a human mask, you know.
See, Jason's doing Inception. He's sketchy. I don't. Sometimes when you're a kid, you don't understand. I remember watching the first season of X-Men, and I was like 6 years old, and like they dropped the watch, and it's like the metal watch, and it goes to like Professor X's wheelchair, and it's metal, his wheelchair, and I was like, my brother's like, it's Magneto. I'm like, what? I was like 6.
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I supposed to get
I know.
that?
I was like 6 when I seen part 5, and I'm like, well, clearly it has to, like, it's just Jason wearing a human mask. Like, clearly.
You're just like trying to justify that's Jason, man. It's still Jason.
I never even knew, like, for years, I never even knew that it wasn't supposed to be Jason.
The paramedics in the movie for 10 seconds.
Yeah, dude. I thought Jason, like, the way that
but they made
looked,
it so obvious.
Jason had on like a Halloween mask of like a regular guy. I was like, that's how he's been getting around so easy.
So, what about when they show
making
Roy?
mask in his lab?
That guy on the ground does not look like I had forgot about that dude forever ago.
They should have probably.
I thought
had
it was
Roy
Matt,
pop up
and
again.
it's all dark and rainy. Like it doesn't even.
No,
and
I
on
agree,
VHS and crappy, and
it's a person.
Can't see nothing.
Right, but it was a person. You knew that. You knew it wasn't Jason because it was a person. That's what I'm saying. When they showed Roy, when they showed dead Jason and the mask open in Roy's face, you knew it wasn't Jason anymore.
I thought that was a mask. I thought Jason had on his
Jason had 2 masks?
Yes, and underneath he had a human mask, and I was like, bro,
I would even see. He's already got one bad eye. He's just like
I thought he was genius. I thought like, oh, that's how he like moves around. He wears like a regular person mask.
You know that machete to the face made him a genius.
Dude, I swear to God, I literally for years I thought that I never knew.
You know how heavy his head would be with 2 masks on and a hockey.
Plus, he's already got that elephant man head going on.
Right, he's already fucked. Right, poor Jason.
So moving
anyway. Yeah,
the characters in the kills. We got Vera, who gets the harpoon through the eye, which I think is one of the best deaths in the movie for sure. And I like her death too. She's
and I love it. She's like just trying to get Shelly's wallet back.
Yeah.
And Jason just like walks up all like menacing and just aims it at her.
Awesome.
And she thinks it's Shelly.
No,
and then he just kind of sits it down and walks away like, no thanks.
It's awesome. Yes. He throws it down like nonchalantly.
Yeah.
I'm glad they let him know. It's like dropping the mic on there. I'm glad they let him know, like that he was like, she was like, wait, who are you? Because there's always something that always annoyed me when I was younger. That's like when like you think you got like somebody like takes the appearance of someone you know and then they kill you. You're like, no, I just think my friend killed me. What the fuck? You know?
Yeah, it's like the last thing you go, you like die and you're like, that son of a bitch. Like in the afterlife.
Like, why did my mom strangle me?
All because I turned him down.
Yeah, but Vera, I like. She's one of the tougher characters. She's probably overall like. There's not much character development, but somehow she gets enough to like. I like her.
Yeah.
She's spunky. She's hot. I like it. You know.
His face is frozen.
Your face is frozen.
I'm not. Nobody's frozen.
See, JP is frozen to me.
There he is.
Now he's unfrozen.
So then we got Andy, who's split in two. Love that death. Great death.
It is great.
One and the wheelchair from part 2
Yeah.
have always been favorites of mine. But the handstand one is just creative. It's like this guy's walking on his hands all over the place. And then they, pretty simple with the plexiglass underneath. But then even like the aftermath, like up in the bunk bed, what is it, a rafters? Where's his body hanging out at?
It's definitely the rafters.
Yeah.
With the hammocks hanging off.
Has anybody ever done it in a
How
hammock?
do you?
No.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good.
I
In
haven't.
You just got to put. Yeah, you got to put your legs on the floor. Is all. The man puts his legs on the floor, or whoever's on the other side. And yeah, it's good. But how about this? Have you ever pictured Jason putting that fucking dead body in those rafters? He would have had to stand on the hammock to do it.
It's always funny when you think about like if you actually saw those parts of the movie, right? Because you never see.
I think
that.
he just threw him up there and he kept falling.
Yeah, just with strength.
Like he keep throwing something up there, trying to get it to stand up.
And it falls back down.
Yeah, like 10
Right.
times. Covered in
Come on,
guts.
stay up.
That's funny.
And then the Debbie Hammock kill is a rehash of the Kevin Bacon kill. Good kill. Good kill.
It's a good kill.
It's great,
I like
though.
that kill.
See, every kill in this movie is really good. I think one of the reasons I really enjoy it.
And she's
You
also pregnant, which is off-putting. Little.
Yeah, that's a little.
I don't know if they should have done. They probably should, that's like it's a little bit too much for a Friday movie.
Yeah, I wonder
Yeah.
why. What was the reason behind that? It didn't add.
I guess if
to
you're
it.
making Jason like a rapist,
Yeah.
that's not off limits.
No, I mean, like,
Oh.
how can we one up the guy in the wheelchair, kill a pregnant lady?
Oh, okay.
That's probably
You
the
know
only
what?
way.
I'm
Do
okay.
you think
with
they
that.
were even thinking about that, or they were just like just adding character development, but not thinking about like, oh, we got to kill her later on, and she's
I
pregnant?
don't know. It's so weird. It's a bizarre thing. It's like almost like throwaway line too.
Yeah,
It leads nowhere.
It's just so she couldn't eat the weed. That was the only reason why she goes. We're pregnant, remember?
And that she had to
couldn't
pee.
eat the weed.
She had to pee a lot.
Oh, yeah.
They said
Yeah.
something, but that's not. This is also useless. And then
True.
Shelley's is off screen, but we do get that great line that Dave loves on here.
Shelley's dead.
That scene is-
It's awesome.
What if Jason would have took Shelly's first mask, the like clear mask? like what
What
if
if he
that
would have just scalped him? What if he would have just ripped Shelley's hair off and wore his hair on his? Because he lost his hair. He's just got
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
He got alopecia.
Think about what a prick Shelley is. Think about what a prick. Could you imagine dedicating all that time to get that freaking kind of hair made synthetically to put on that freaking thing? The kind of hair that Shelley has? You know how much time went into that?
I don't even
Dude,
think it would be that hard, bro. I really don't.
What?
People
Who
say
has
that,
hair
but
like that?
What do you mean? You just go to a
Jufro
wig store, like and get hair that's froey.
Dude, you know anybody that has hair that way? That they're going to sell it
The
at a store?
70s.
Maybe in Halloween
Everybody
time.
in the 70s
Fine.
had hair like that. Look at your mom's yearbook. Or, well, not
Yeah,
your
my
mom,
mom's
my
yearbook.
mom's.
But also like Shelley was so dedicated to the gag. Like he is in a wetsuit, bro. I ain't getting in no fucking wetsuit. I don't give a shit. There's no way I'm getting him.
to me, that's more impressive that he has a wetsuit.
And he dies in a
has, like,
wetsuit
some
like an
hair.
idiot. He's
Yeah.
to die in a wetsuit.
I know, right? The next day, that's when they see him.
He also, why does he have a real harpoon?
Dude, honestly, when the
got a
cops
real
found this
harpoon.
death scene, they would be so confused. They'd be like, "What is happening here? Like,
Yeah.
why is this thing? Is this a wetsuit?"
Like, okay, this guy clearly killed that girl with a
Yeah.
harpoon.
Right. Wow, they probably thought that too.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be a funny thing too to do a short movie. I don't know why people don't do that. Like the cops walk in and be like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Yeah, right, yeah.
Well, we don't get them till nighttime, so there's time for this to happen. When part 3 ends, it's the break of dawn, and the cops don't get there till the evening at the beginning of freaking.
Yeah,
the
because they were
final
cleaning up murders all over the damn town all day.
Yeah.
chapter. So who do you think told the cops?
Dude, that's a long shift. Whoever worked that night at Crystal Lake, dude, they had a long ass shift.
Oh, after part 2 and then 3. Oh, for sure.
Then 4.
And here's something I noticed this time. when they're driving by and they're almost there, there's this one scene when they look outside the shop where Edna and what's his name are killed.
Harold.
And Harold. And literally, you see a body. They're covered up. They're gonna be in a body bag. They're covered head to toe. It's definitely a dead person because who else is covered on a gurney? And they're putting them into the ambulance. And Debbie tells Chris, "Don't let your imagination, run away with you, kid," or something like that. I'm thinking, wait a minute, that was definitely a dead body. Could you imagine just seeing a dead body and blowing it off? The hell with it. There's dead bodies strewn in front of the store, ambulances, cops. Yeah, I never picked up on that till this time.
I didn't really think too deeply about a dead body when I seen one.
Yeah, but if it's
you didn't get raped the year
bodies,
before. But you didn't get attacked the summer before and are already nervous and have PTSD from it going up. So for her to see that, she should have said, "What the hell's that? What's going on here? We can't."
It could. Honestly, she could just be thinking like somebody had a heart attack or something. You know what I mean? Like you don't.
But the scene looks like a mess.
It does. Look
I think what I got out of it, it looks like there's a couple bodies. I think you could see Edna and Frank. Is it Frank?
Harold.
What the fuck's the matter with me, Frank?
You know what's something that the Friday 13th movies do in the early years that I don't think a lot of other slashers did, because they didn't really have sequels that brought characters back, but they seem to actually be literally distraught and fucked up from the previous movies. Like, Alice is, and Chris was messed up from what happened to her. So, like, these people actually are suffering trauma and trying to get over things like that. Or maybe they just... We're adapting the next fucking movie, and they were just like, well, we don't have Jenny, but what if we made this girl have trauma too? Because it's such an important part of the script. I bet they did.
Dude, yeah, that sounds more realistic to how that scene came about.
Yeah, they're like, well, we gotta have this lady have some interaction with Jason too, so it makes the stakes bigger. If we're gonna kill Jason, we want her to have had interaction with Jason before. So basically, that's like it's weird, like a remake, like where they did Evil Dead 1 and 2 or something like that. It's like a semi-remake scene or something, but it's not really weird shit like that. It's strange.
And also that scene doesn't really make much sense because it would have had to take place,
during
2 years ago?
Before part 2.
Which he had no hair.
And was he wearing? He wasn't wearing the new clothes, which is absolute nonsense. Which I can only take into consideration that she's like, I never forget that face. It's like, you know what? You probably did. It probably wasn't Jason, even though Jason does like open his mask and show her. But maybe she was imagining that too. I don't know. Maybe Rick did it.
Well, Rick does wear Mrs. Voorhees.
So what happened though? Like, did she just woke up there? Like, so was she raped? Was it a dream? Like, what happened? I never understood what they.
The original script for New Beginning was Chris is going to give birth to a new Jason Voorhees.
Well, a new beginning, literally.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you're pulling my leg.
Yeah.
They should have done that instead.
So, what is you guys' theory on that scene?
I think it's just nonsense writing.
I mean, that's fair.
But as like a fan, if you're trying to make it make sense.
I think she was attacked, not raped. I think she was attacked, and in the middle of it, her father came out or something.
And scared
That's
Jason
all I can
off.
come up with. Somehow. I don't know how he could have, but Jason in part 2 could have been scared off. So yeah, maybe he came out with a gun and shot, and Jason freaking ducked it.
I think that he attacked her. She fainted. He was like, thought he didn't understand what a faint was, so he thought she was dead. Well, dropped her body and walked off.
So you get knocked out, not understand what a feint is.
But why
Jason
did her
got
parents...
no head movement. You saw that in part 8. He ain't got no head movement.
Ronda Rousey ain't got no head movement either.
Do you remember that gif where she's like,
head movement, Ronda, head movement. That dude was the worst ever.
That guy was insane. So there's a couple more deaths. Chuck and Chili, I don't think are too memorable deaths. Electrocuted death.
Honestly, those characters is Chuck and Chili the potheads?
Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't even think those characters are very memorable. They seem not even friends with these people.
They're just kicking it. They're high. I think they're friends and they're just so mellow. They're just chilling.
I think
the way I picture it is that they are like the reason that Andy's there obviously is because Debbie, and Debbie's friends with the other two. So the girls are just kind of doing the girls thing. And I think what happens here is at college, we know that Shelly's the roommate. I think that across the hall, or maybe next door to them, that's where Chuck and Chili are in the dorm. One of them, and they're hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate them or anything.
Went.
I just think
I think they're cool.
I actually wish we got
potheads.
more from them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that they're like involved enough.
Well, that's the problem with this movie, is that there wasn't, because they insisted on 3D, so much attention was brought into that and the shots and everything else that they didn't have time for intricate script writing. It was thrown together in that way, and I think it dominated. At least that's everything that I've heard on documentaries and read. It was there was so much focus on that.
Yeah, I remember one of the
ones.
actors even said something like, it didn't even really matter if you could act that well. You just had to hit your marks. Cameras. Yeah.
And it is funny though, like you could tell like Shelley is completely like focused on hitting that when he does the wall. He's like, oh yeah, it does hurt so. That's like one of the dumbest. He's like what? It's probably the 50th one. It's not his fault. Like a lot of that shit, you could just tell. Like Harold's like, that stick, like it's just like, dumb shit. Like they were like, we need a gag like, every 10 seconds, every 5 minutes, we need something like that. So move that pole back there, and like the snake, and then like stuff like that.
A yo-yo, a baseball stick.
And that's the thing that people don't even understand about 3D. Like if you like 3D, to me, it's never about the stuff like coming at your face. It's about the depth, like being able to see like in the movie. You know what I mean?
100%.
That's the stuff that's cool.
That's what it became. That's why. Well, you know why? Because that's the difference between real 3D and the classic red and blue 3D.
Right.
Real 3D was the one that introduced the different dimensions, the different, That's why. Back then, that's all they had was a gimmick. Just throw something at the screen. Whoo! Almost hit me, That's why. That's all they had back then.
They were paving ground. Friday the 13th was paving ground for the 3D. They pushed it forward because no big movie was going to take a chance on this. Well, I do think the most memorable visual scene for me that I remember is when Jason gets hit in the head with the axe and he immediately like goes into like reset mode. He's just like goes at her like that.
Yeah, and
like,
the axe handle is actually like coming at.
I really like that. I think that's
remember that's
awesome.
Very memorable. I agree with that.
Yep. And I noticed this time for the first time ever, when he gets hit with the axe, he comes out at first and he has that famous shot. At first, he still has the knife in his hand. And then he opens his hand and drops it. And then just comes at it with just his hand.
Like Frankenstein.
I never really noticed that he dropped the knife until today. Which may be weird to say, but that's what happened. It was just cool. I was like, oh shit, he dropped the knife and he's just coming at her, with his bare hands at that point.
I like his build. I like his build here.
Yes.
Like, he's a perfect build for Jason. He's not... I like Kane Hodder's build the best, though, because he's not super tall, but he's just bulky. Kane Hodder, I think, is the best Jason, although the movies he's in are not the best, clearly.
Yeah, it's like, if you would have put Kane Hodder in a better movie, it would be, like, so not debatable.
I do think this one, I like Booker, I like Ted White. Those two, and I like Kane Hodder. Though I think those three are the best. For me,
it's Steve Dash for me. It's Dash.
It's
the first. It's those three. Yeah, it's Dash and Brooker and White to me are the best three.
And I like Hodder.
But I'll tell you this. Speaking of Dash, I like Hodder too, but just not.
I do think Hodder's a better actor though than them. Like he's actually an actor too. So
the thing about Kane
he emotes.
He really thought about like, how do I bring some life to this character without speaking, and he really like thought it through. Like, if you've ever read his book, he talks extensively about like his mindset with the Jason character, and he truly did love playing that role, and he brought a lot to it, in my opinion, for the movies as they like stepped down. Like, he was definitely like a highlight of those movies.
100%. Yeah, he was great. He
championed
loved the role, and
Jason too.
Yeah,
really did
for years.
Yes.
That's why it was so heartbreaking that they pulled him off of Freddy versus Jason. Like,
stupid.
Only 1 year,
stupid.
1 or 2 years after Jason X.
And like, Sean Cunningham, like they asked him, and he's like, "Well, Ronnie, you wanted this." I would be like, "No, it's
Ronnie Yu hasn't seen any of these movies.
Ronnie Yu doesn't give a fuck. Ronnie Yu is a Hong Kong director that makes crazy action fantasy movies that are awesome. But he's good to direct this if that's what you want. But just put Kane Hodder in there.
Yeah,
100%, man.
I don't know. It always seemed like they always talk about being like this like family and stuff, and it always felt like a family thing. Like they're promoting Adam Marcus from within and other people from within and all these like those small things. And then when they just cut Kane Hodder, I just kind of was like, maybe this is all fucking facade. You know what I mean? It's just like blowing smoke up each other's ass because it's weird.
Honestly, like I think that the guy that what was it, Kurzinger, who played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason, I think he's like one of my least favorite Jasons, if not my least favorite.
Looks pretty sleepy. Sleepy Jason.
Wait. Speaking of the Jasons, this is what made it official. Something else I actually looked at today when the credits are on there, and it talks about the people credited for part 2. The Jason that's credited is Steve Dashkowitz. Steve Dash.
Yeah.
So even them in 1982, they already declared that freaking in that final scene in the intro for part 2 that was Steve Dash. It wasn't Gillette. So he got the props. And I never thought about again. Today, that's what I saw. As many times as I see these movies, every time I watch to do a podcast or a show or anything where we're going to be like talking it and reviewing it, whatever, I always try to find more stuff and have, pay attention on different things. And usually something pops up. And that was it today. I was like, oh, Steve Dash, that's cool.
And the last death in the movie is, of course, Rick, who gets his eyeball squeezed out, which is a fun 3D gimmick, but it's silly. Rick, he's a fine actor. He's okay. He's solid, but I just don't like the character Rick. Although he is chill when he breaks the car out. I'm like, I'm going to whoop your ass.
I thought that too. Like,
ass.
He's too chill.
He's chill sometimes and just...
he's weird. He's off.
Like, if somebody brought your car back like that, wouldn't you be kind of mad?
Kind of mad.
Yes, furious.
Dave would be fuming.
I'm like, why the fuck is this? Why? And then they're like, it's not that they broke it that pissed me off. It's just that they're nonchalant about it. If they're like, dude, I'm fucking sorry, I'm like, it's all right. But if they're like, I'm like, what?
Yeah, what did he say? Shelly's like, a couple minor repairs and it's all good or something.
I'm like, yeah, then get to it.
Yeah.
Drive your fucking ass
minor
down
repairs.
there and
Sightlight's going to charge me $900 to fix his windshield.
Yeah.
He doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'd be like, your middle name better be like Safe Light Repair.
You better get this fucking lawyer degree pretty soon, Larry Zerner.
About to whoop your ass, Zerner.
That is we didn't really talk about that, but Shelley's character, Larry Zerner, is an actual lawyer in real life. Very smart dude. Often weighs in on like the legal stuff behind Friday the 13th. Pretty cool dude. He seems like to be like, obviously, like has a big successful career in like the lawyer field, but he seems to like love the film and what his part in it and like the fans and stuff like that. I like that.
Yeah, we can brush on the cast a little bit. Dana Kimmell played Chris. I thought she's pretty good as the final girl. I think she's solid, a little underrated.
Oh yeah.
A couple horror movies, Midnight Offering, Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Rick became a chiropractor. Big, huge gap in his acting. So, and then Tracie Savage was basically a newscaster. She worked on the O.J. Simpson newscasting stuff, so that's where she was more famous for. Andy was not too much stuff. A lot of these people were actors, TV actors, and things like that. So it's not too much. Larry Zerner became a lawyer, of course, and stuff like that. So there's not too many big actors in here. Brooker was a trapeze artist and stuntman, so that's why he was a little bit. Although he doesn't seem
British,
light on his feet.
Right?
Yeah, he's passed away 10 years ago or something like that.
2013.
Yeah.
12.
So. And that's about it. That Kevin O'Brien, who played Loco, would go on to work with Steve Miner in Warlock. So that's another one we forgot to mention about Miner. Warlock's a pretty fun movie.
I like
that.
And,
he was Warlock.
Yeah. And Edna and Harold, both, which I found really weird, ended up being in an episode. I don't know if it's the same episode as Archie. Archie Bunker had a spinoff from, what the fuck's the show? All in the Family.
Archie Bunker's Place.
Yeah,
right?
they were both in an episode of that, which I find really weird.
The same episode?
I don't know. You have to look it up. But that'd be great. They might be. I'm not familiar with the show, I saw All in the Family, but I didn't even, Archie's Place,
Yeah, and he also did 6 episodes of Married with Children.
Nice. He looks like a Married with Children guy that would run into Al Bundy. Is he his friend? Is he the guy who he reminds me of the guy who basically doesn't develop Al Bundy's film right when he takes the pictures of the alien? That feels like the kind of role he would play. Like, I messed up. That's just such a character. Like, just classic 80s, 90s character actor in those movies.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Like one of your dad's weird friends that shows up once or twice and you never see him again.
He did a ton of like voice work. Like it seems like most of his later career's voice work. Like he did, check this out, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines video game.
Weird.
Like, what?
This is Harold?
so weird.
He's got a good voice. Okay. So we should mention the Mancuso too. Mancuso Jr. was all over this film, and obviously the son of the CEO of Paramount at the time. So he kind of was a big driving force behind the Friday the 13th movies after the first one. So 2, 3, 4, 7. You know, this one. So yeah,
right out of Buffalo. Yep. I know his daughter. I went out with his daughter. Not his daughter.
Really?
His niece. His niece.
Okay.
Yeah, Nicole, her name was.
Were you like, do you like Friday the 13th?
Dave's even.
That is how I did geek out a little bit when I first met her. I absolutely geeked out a little bit about the fact. I said, "You're not related to Frank." She says, "That's my uncle." I said, "What, from Friday the 13th fame?" You said, "Yeah." Yeah, it was. That's as far as it went. I didn't geek out too much more. I didn't nice to meet him or anything.
Yeah, that'd be creepy. I remember you said that your pit boss in Vegas was C.J. Graham, who played Jason in Part 6. 100%. And I was like, yeah, that's crazy to me.
That is crazy. Yep.
He looks like a pit boss, dude. I wouldn't fuck with that dude.
He's actually pretty chill. He's had a pretty chill attitude.
The guys who actually can whoop your ass usually are chill.
Yeah, right.
They don't have to
that
be
is
assholes.
the case, right? Like not like most people that can fight are actually like really fucking dope and not shit starters.
No.
Like the three of us. See, don't fuck with us.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk a game, but at the end of the day, when push comes to shove,
somebody.
Well, we're all fucking crazy. So
I am nuts.
There you have it.
I think I just don't care if I die, so that gives me a benefit.
Word.
DP Gerald Fell. He did some horror movies. Like, these are people's names that I'm not too familiar with, but they worked on a ton of movies. He Knows You're Alone, Silent Madness, Savage Dawn, editor, TV movies, TV series, stuff like that. And the composer, obviously, Manfredini. Besides the Friday the 13th movies, he also did stuff like The Children. His scores are actually good. He's a very good composer that obviously got pigeonholed into doing Friday the 13th movies. We should mention that this score is the disco version, which became like a gay icon song, which is absolutely hilarious to me. And I definitely could dance to some fucking Friday the 13th fucking disco.
Yeah. Oh, I do. I mean, no one's ever seen me dance. I mean, unless I'm at a fish show. But like, legit, I think that if let's say we were together at like fucking Wasteland, and I happened to be like really high or on shrooms or something, and this song started playing, and I was encouraged to dance, this is the song I could fucking get up and get down to. Nice. It's serious.
This song is so funny to me because do you guys remember that really dumb song, like that dude that was viral who's like, Flea Market, Montgomery, it's just like a mini mall. Do you remember that?
No.
Well, there was this stupid ass fucking cheap ass fucking commercial of this like middle-aged black guy that had like a giant flea market and he would dance in it. And then like people would take it and remix it. And they remixed it called the spooky version. And it was just like the Friday the 13th Part 3 music of that version. And it would just like cut to him being like the music of it's the funniest fucking thing ever. And the song reminds me of the Flea Market Montgomery spooky version song. This song is like the version of that. I know it's a fucking huge reach, but I do want to mention the special effects artist in here, Martin Becker, who worked on tons of the Friday movies, April Fool Days, Nightmare 4, 6, and then makeup effects, Alan Apone, who did a bunch of stuff, and also Michael Mills. Their credits are like endless for makeup effects, just doing like work on stuff for Eternal Living Dead, Neon Maniacs, tons and tons of big movies. But Stan Winston did sculpt the mask here. I think the main special effects people were from his like company.
Mm-hmm. It was a Detroit Red Wings goalie mask.
No, I mean he sculpted a Jason Voorhees monster mask that didn't get used for the deleted ending, the alternate ending where Chris gets her head whacked off. He actually sculpted a mask for that. Yeah. But there's no footage, unfortunately.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah, I hate that Paramount threw all this shit away, dude. It pisses me off.
Oh, they didn't care.
They hated this franchise.
Yeah, but
like I don't know how you could hate something so much that can make you money. Like, you know what I mean?
Old Hollywood attitude. It's old Hollywood. They're being snooty.
It's like Universal too.
Pompous,
treat Bela Lugosi like dog shit, even though he made him so much money on their movies, and not like, whoa, pay Boris Karloff, we're not gonna pay Bela Lugosi popping. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, those movies.
That's not real film.
Universal built on horror movies, man.
Mm-hmm.
And New Line is the only company that doesn't fucking directly shit on their horror movies.
I know. I feel that way too.
But
Maybe
I think
Lionsgate.
Universal had some respect for their horror movies later on. Like I feel like Universal would give deals to directors that a lot of companies wouldn't. But Paramount, the Friday the 13th movies, it's just because the critical impact. People are so mad at these fucking movies, the critics. People like Roger Ebert, who fucking literally wrote a letter, told people to fucking gave out fucking geez, what
Betsy Palmer's address.
Betsy Palmer's, yeah,
on air,
yeah.
Which is like now, if that would
disgusting.
happen nowadays, that's so illegal to do.
Fuck yeah, it is. It's just trash.
What a
It's
loser.
trashy. Yeah, you're talking.
Right.
People are getting reality mixed with fantasy, and they're fucking mad at a fantasy movie and actually doing something in reality that could actually hurt someone. And you hurt poor old Betsy Palmer. She got to eat, dude. Just like you got to eat when you go see the shitty movies you don't like.
Word.
And that dude was just so inconsistent as well. Hated I Spit on Your Grave, loved Last House on the Left. Explain that.
Well, he had a bad theater experience with I Spit on Your Grave, he said. He literally said after the second rape scene, somebody said, that was a good one. So I think that probably ruined it for him.
Yeah, that might put a bad taste in my mouth as well.
Yeah, but I don't think that you're responsible for the crowd. It's kind of like a nasty movie like Serbian Film, as people are like, oh, it's so nasty. It's like, register it's a horrible dark comedy too on the top of it. But so it's like people are seeing what the movie is about. I don't think Zarchi went out and been like, I can't wait to titillate the audience. I mean, the advertising for I Spit on Your Grave most certainly was that, but the original movie's called Day of the Woman. So I mean, and it's hard to determine what people really were thinking when they put those movies out there. But he says no, I didn't want to do that. But hey, who knows?
Yeah,
right.
So where do you guys rank this in the Friday series?
Dave,
it's my number 4. It goes 2, 1, 4, and 3.
I go
very high on it though. Very high.
I go 4, 2, 5, 1, 3 probably. I think 3 climbed this time for me. I think I had it lower before. Man.
It's in my top 5. My top 5 favorites are the first 5, and I don't know what order.
So all of us are. How about that?
They're just the ones I like the best.
Orders.
I like 5 the best. I don't think it's the best movie though. If I had a representation of Friday the 13th, like which one, if you can only watch one, I'd give somebody part 2 or part 4, just because I think they're the most pure. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or 1.
I like part 2 because it's the most scary. I like part 1 because it's the most like regional, like really feels like a camp movie,
70s carryover movie for sure too.
And then I like part 4 because it's kind of like brings everything that I like from the series like together, and it's like feels a little bigger and epic. And then now part 3 is just like the comfort food one for me, like where it just feels like it doesn't do anything that I don't like really, and that's pretty rare with this franchise. There's things in every movie that I don't particularly like, but this one has like the least offenses, I think.
So,
well, dude, how many 80s slashers can you say that about? That's why I said that it's almost a disservice that this is a Friday the 13th, because if you look at what can you say wrong about this? All the kills are good. The character, it's paced right. It coasts along. Good score. The acting's fine. Pace. You know what I mean? It's but how many 80s slashers can you honestly say that about? Probably not more than 10 or 15.
On rewatch,
all around you know.
Yeah, I was like, Friday 3's not going to be in my top 10, and then I was just like, looks like I got to make a spot. Like, honestly, I was like, I cannot have it, because although it's technically not better than a lot of these movies, it's the one I'm going to pick up and watch over a lot of the other ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it actually it made my top 10 when we did it on 22 Shots. Dave, was you on that show?
I wasn't. Dave Z?
Dave Z was
82?
Yeah, you had it at number 7.
Yeah, I know. What a year that was. Honestly, I think it might be up a few spots now.
It was my number 4. I just
better or worse. You guys want to do 82, or you want to do 82 slashers? 80, because it's going to be really hard to beat any. This is probably one of the best 82 slashers, so I think it's kind of pointless, right? True. We'll do 82 as a whole. Just all that you got to say. No discussion. Just which one you like better. Simple. Say the title of the movie you like better. We'll go Dave Z, then fun. JP.
That's
The
fun.
Thing.
All right. Oh, The Thing.
The Thing.
Poltergeist.
Friday.
Poltergeist.
Oh, sorry, I went out of order.
No, it doesn't matter. As long as they're fast, it doesn't matter. Halloween 3.
Friday 3.
It honestly, it's by the day. I'll say Halloween 3 though.
Tenebrae.
Tenebrae.
Fuck. Tenebrae now. Yeah. Tenebrae's gone up.
Slumber Party Massacre.
Friday.
Friday.
Creep Show.
Creep Show.
Friday.
Basket Case.
Friday.
Friday.
Cat People.
Friday.
Friday.
Pieces.
Friday.
Friday.
New York Ripper.
Friday.
Friday.
Cue the Winged Serpent.
Friday.
Friday.
House on Sorority Row.
Friday.
Friday.
Alone in the Dark.
Friday.
Friday.
Amityville 2, The Possession.
Amityville 2. That's
Amityville 2. Amityville 2, but it is very close.
I don't think there's any of these movies that are going to even stand a chance on your guys' list anymore. Besides that, you know what I mean? Like, there's stuff that's good, like The Entity. That's one.
I'll take this over the Friday over the end.
Yeah, you pretty much named almost my entire top 10 there, besides Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker.
That was technically 81 now, so I'd switch back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's something that might be a little fun. Where do you rank this against Nightmare on Elm Street 1?
Nightmare.
Oh, Nightmare 1 is a masterpiece to me now.
Nightmare 2.
Nightmare 2.
No, Friday. Friday over Nightmare 2.
Nightmare 3.
Nightmare 3.
Nightmare 3.
And Dave Z's favorite, Nightmare 4.
Obviously Friday.
That's a tough one, but I'll probably lean towards Friday.
All right, so Halloween 1.
Halloween.
Halloween.
Halloween 2.
Halloween 2.
It depends on the day, but I'll say Halloween 2.
Halloween 4.
Friday.
Oh, Friday.
Texas Chainsaw.
Texas.
Oh, Texas, yeah.
Texas Chainsaw 2.
Chainsaw.
Ah, man. I'll say Friday. It's close, though.
Chainsaw 3.
Friday.
No, Friday. Shit.
I don't think there's any point. Maybe the remake.
I'd go remake, but yeah.
Not for me. Nothing else in Texas.
So that's pretty good. You guys got any shout outs?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Friday 3?
I've
JP?
always liked the poster a lot.
Yeah, with the like, it's like a curtain and he's stabbing through it. That's a good one.
Which that doesn't even happen in the movie.
No,
Does it?
well, he's in the sheets. He's behind the sheets in the beginning.
Yeah. But
is weird. Yeah.
It's a shower curtain specifically.
How about that cover? That's even weirder.
That is
Slashing through
weird.
the
I don't
glass.
like it. He looks like
I
a
like it 'cause it's
computer-generated
different.
effect.
Let me see it, Dave.
I hear you. It's the one, it's the alternate.
Oh,
cover.
I hate that cover.
I don't hate it because it's an alternate for Friday 3. So I respect it, but no, it doesn't look great. But it's still kind of cool. But
Part 2's cover
obviously-
was crap. It was just a rehash of 1, right?
Yeah, but there's other parts too. There's the one with the
They took
bad. Or is that part 1?
right. That's part 1. No, part 2 would always be part 1 had the body.
Yeah.
But all the good
It's just
art
with an
in it, they just
axe
took it
instead
out.
of,
Yeah, they took all the art out and just put the axe there. Yeah,
Shitty
it's
cover.
funny. Or there's that shitty one that looks like freaking a cartoon one when Jason's coming out of the water. Did you ever see that one? And it looks like it looks more like Victor Crowley than it's a Jason Voorhees.
What do you guys think of
That
the one from part 5, the hockey mask that's like not even close to the hockey mask? That's like the hockey mask for Mad Max, bro.
Nightmare
Right.
had better cover art, but the cover art for Nightmare 2
yeah.
looked like shit too. Wasn't it just Freddy
But-
And then the
but
other ones were so great.
Yeah.
3, 4,
There's
and 5 looked
right.
awesome.
The UK
Yes, they
art
do.
for Elm Street 2 is awesome.
Why do they use that shitty? I mean, like, I don't know. I had all those tapes. I've seen those covers a million times. Oh, what's your favorite murder weapon in this one?
Ooh. Weapon, I guess a
harpoon.
pitchfork.
Oh,
Yeah, pitchfork
is
is his
good.
work.
Pitchfork's great. It feels
Yeah.
very Part 2 Jason.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, it's
I
like
definitely
Farm
dig it.
Boy Jason. I like
Boy,
it.
Jason. He's
Yeah,
going through his
man.
farm boy stage.
He gets it's just this just reminded me. He's like the Christian's like he buys all this hay every year and says he's gonna get a horse, and then he doesn't get a horse, and we just have all this hay. And I'm like,
Don't
what?
even explain it. Don't explain it. Like, do you ever like have like it's somebody gets caught in a lie and they over explain themselves so you know they're lying? Like if you would have just said one simple word, like, what are you doing? Taking a shit. No one has said nothing, but you're like, I gotta go back to the car because I locked it, you know, my extra keys are there, so I gotta go back to the car and get his car, and he's gonna lock his car, and then I'm go, you're lying. Just make something up quick. It's simple. I gotta take a shit. Nobody's gonna say nothing. But if you start explaining, like, it's like, yeah, so we got the hay. That's like the bad writing of that. It's like, yeah, well, he buys hay. If you don't mention that there's a weird reason to have the hay, don't even fucking bring up the hay. Nobody's gonna be like, hey, there's no horses here, there's hay. You know, Jason's not even the same guy anymore. Like, no
Right.
Hey,
Just help me. Can you help me with the hay?
Like,
Yeah.
Can you imagine somebody? This script's a mess, man. Where's all this hay coming from? like, what are they doing? You know what I mean?
Hey, I was reading over the script and I realized we have this scene with a bunch of hay, but the audience is gonna be wondering why they have all that hay.
Where's the horses? Where's the horses?
I ain't paying for no fucking horses. We ain't got horse money. We ain't even got dog money
on this 3D camera.
Horses don't look good in 3D. That's what I'm told.
You think horses are cheap?
That Coming at Western movie didn't look good. Those horses look terrible in that movie. I don't want them in here.
Then you got an equestrian.
This is the whole bullshit that happens in movies why everything's a fucking mess. Some guy's like, nah. We gotta have a wetsuit. Why? Because I rented one and I need to write it off. That's the kind of shit that happens.
It is the shit that happens. It really is.
It was Mancuso. Yeah.
The guy broke the window out of this car. Oh, fuck. You know what I mean? Mancuso's just fucking a mobster. His name sounds like a mobster. He sounds connected.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all this stuff was bankrolled. Well, he's not really connected, but the founders of the whole franchise, that is how it started with the original investors out of Jersey and all that stuff. It was, it was funded that way initially. See? Something else good from the Italians. Without Italians, no Friday the 13th.
No Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They bought the rights. Maybe they didn't produce
no Christmas Evil.
Without the Yakuza, we don't get any of those weird fucking pervert card Japanese movies. What?
Yep.
Pride FC, bro.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love the Yakuza.
Oh,
I thought you meant like gay pride. I was like, Yakuza
are
behind gay pride?
I figured you would know what pride is. You're an MMA guy.
Yeah, Pride FC. But pride's such a generic word. I was like...
The Yakuza's behind gay pride.
Yakuza brought up the rainbow flag? Like,
that's what Trump said. Trump thinks the Yakuza are behind gay pride.
Wait, really?
He goes after Japan?
That's the latest thing. Yeah.
Oh my god.
He didn't say that. I believe it though. Any news I believe at this point. Like it's just so random.
Oh man.
I can't think of a gay name for the Yakuza that's a good pun, and I don't know Japanese well enough to do it.
Damn.
But
nope.
You got any shout outs, any channels, shout outs and everything like that?
Oh man. Well, I got a couple of things I want to add about the film just for a moment. Because I wanted to point them out and I haven't in the past. So you said that you didn't like the kill of Chuck, the electrocution, which electrocutions do suck. They always do.
I don't hate it. It's just it's to make the lights shut off. It's
most
cheap.
Electrocutions suck.
It's an action kill. It's an action kill.
They're just shitty. But right before he's killed, there's actually a good, well done, scary scene in the movie where all of a sudden he pulls the thing, the light comes on, and Jason is standing below the light behind him. And I never really picked up on it again until today. Next time you watch it, it's like a Halloween type freaking reveal. Yeah. It's damn cool. It's a scare scene. It's freaking. It's just a classic. The killer's behind you, and you don't know until a light goes on. So I thought that was creepy. Okay, and I also, even though the kill is kind of, it's a shitty kill with freaking Rick. I do like that scene with her coming out. That is scary. And she's like, Rick, where are you? And like, he's freaking 12 feet away from her. Freaking.
That is scary.
Yeah, that is good. Yep.
That's also like the Scream, right? Where she's so close to her parents and she gets grabbed like that and killed. Like, you're so close
Oh,
to being
yeah,
noticed
yeah.
or rescued. Although she couldn't stop Jason, but still, I get the point.
No. Yeah, it's cool though. And did they burn popcorn in Scream in the beginning in that scene?
Yeah,
Does popcorn
Jiffy
get
Pop.
burned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I thought so. Well, this movie is the movie that started the burned popcorn in the slasher, because the popcorn got burned. They came back and he's complaining. He goes, "Look what your friends did, this and that," and all the popcorn that was on top of the freaking
Can you imagine
thing
how mad
was all
you'd be?
burned and messy.
Rick is like the proto dude from the Friday remake. Remember the guy from the
He
Friday
makes no
remake? That's
sense.
such a dickhead. He's like, the fucking friends ruining my goddamn house. That guy's the best character in the Friday remake. No, the prick. It's the most memorable. Everyone else was forgettable. That guy's
Your
the best
tits are
actor in the movie.
stupendous.
That dude's the best. He's the best character. But no, Rick is like, they're ripping my house. Like, dude, if Rick would be, I'd be flipping out if I was Rick. Rick's all on.
That's
Rick's
the
all
thing.
hulked out too.
Dude, he gets mad at the wrong things and he's nonchalant about the wrong things. No. He's off. Something is wrong.
He's a horny
with
Hulk. He's a horny farm Hulk.
And then later on, he's scared.
How would you feel if you had all this hay and no horses?
Wait a minute, it's not even his house. It's her dad's house.
No,
but
what am I gonna do with all this hay?
And he's telling her to chill the whole movie. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, when they're walking away, after his car dies, he goes, there's like a noise in the woods. He goes, what was that noise? Why would you make Chris nervous? You've been trying to freaking talk her
you
down
need to be quiet.
the whole movie.
Like, if you hear something, you know something's wrong.
Bro?
How many times have you done this where you knew something bad was going to happen and you're like, hey, let's get out of here and just play it down. And then when you get out of here, you're like, bro, we were so close to getting killed right there. I did not. Like, that dude just had a gun. He was going to shoot that guy. But I didn't want to say shit, so we just leave.
Yeah, I didn't want everybody to freak out.
Yeah. I'm not going to do what you say I'm going to do. Freak out, man.
Is that half baked?
Yeah. What else you got, Z?
I got. No, I mean it's okay. I thought that those are some interesting tidbits that I have in there. Jason's still showing fear. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Nothing else really. It goes back to the original. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask JP specifically. Actually, both of you guys. What do you guys think about the dream sequence? I mean, I've already told you guys that I
when he's looking through the
20
window
minutes to this day. Which the whole thing about the dream sequence, that looking at the window and everything else, and then after all that takes place and everything else, and then back to part one, the freaking, instead of Jason jumping out of the lake, it's Pamela with a head on. And maybe with bad worm placement. I was going to ask JP about that. What do you guys think about that whole thing?
It's a nice callback. It's cute. But I do think Jason's scary when he's like, that's Nightmare. When he's like, dude, and then runs after you like this.
Yeah. It is scary.
Dude, it's just unnerving because you don't see him move like that. I don't know. It's unpleasant. It feels like a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always liked it. Whether it makes sense or not is tough, right? Because you're either saying that it's supernatural and there's some kind of essence there, or that somehow she knew about Pamela's beheading and connected the two. But then she wasn't beheaded, so.
But right.
But she's
the dream sequence is great. We can all agree on that. Everyone loves that. But the part about Pamela.
But then again, she probably did know about that because that would have happened way before, right?
I think Crystal Lake's haunted. The only way to explain it is Crystal Lake is haunted. It has to be haunted.
I agree with you. They tease it in part one with Jason crying in the woods, help me. And then just the fact that part two exists, you could make cases, you could explain so many different things.
This.
But
Crystal Lake called Pamela Voorhees back. It's like The Shining. It's like The Shining, like the Overlook Hotel is evil. The whole entire lake is evil. Some ancient evil on the bottom of the fucking... Why did the fuck they do that in Jason Goes to Hell? Instead of making the stupid worm bullshit, the whole lake should have been evil. They should have went with the lake.
I agree. It's possessed land. It's freaking it's evil.
I mean, I don't hate Jason Goes to Hell like a lot of people. I'm fine with it, but they could have done the lake. They could have done more of a Shining approach that the lake fucking attaches onto somebody and then attached onto the Voorhees family lineage or something. Pamela Voorhees and Jason was in that fucking lake dead, but fucking they brought him back. It's the only way it would explain.
They should have done it at the end of Jason X when the mask lands in the water and they're back on Earth 2. It was such an easy thing for them to pick it up. They could have picked it up right from there and had Friday the 13th back at Crystal Lake with cabins and freaking teens again, and they never did.
Yeah, in 2094 or something. What year is that?
Yeah, but it's but still, it's Earth 2, so maybe it lives like Earth. Maybe it's like a third world planet.
2559.
It's a third world
exactly
planet,
like the 1980s.
Because it has to, because there's no way that Chris would know who Pamela Voorhees is. And there's no way she would have you know what I mean? It just doesn't.
She could know who Pamela Voorhees is, though, because that would have took place 2 years before, right?
5 years before.
5
6
years before. So if someone, crazy mom in Crystal Lake, like, killed someone, she could have put that together, kind of.
She probably would have just been like, why the fuck is this old, nasty, dead woman wearing Rick's sweater?
Right.
Oh, man. It's so funny how us fans will like sit there and like try to piece the shit together, and nobody even thought about it or cared.
No, but the haunted lake is the only explanation. I think that there's been some haunting affects the entire time. Just how it's very vague with Michael Myers being supernatural in the first movie, how he's just drawn to kill his sister. Why not? You know, I do think that there is some maybe possibility that this lake has some haunted past, and I think like Crazy Ralph in Part 7 probably says some weird haunted pass or haunted bass, haunted sea bass.
Were haunted.
Yeah, haunted bass.
Haunted sea bass.
Now that would make sense. That should have been in Jason Goes to Hell. So there's haunted bass. Somebody ate it, then they became Jason.
And then that little worm was a bass. Evil. You see?
Yeah,
the fish got in the Jason Voorhees when he was a kid.
Goes in the bass.
That's what it got in his mouth, and then he became all hulking, and then is passing on. He's puking it up.
Yeah, totally.
It is a bad worm, right?
Bad worm.
You guys, JP, isn't that a terrible looking worm? It looks so fresh on this decrepit freaking old face.
He's
of
talking
Pamela.
about in Part 3. The
dream.
The end of Part 3.
Well, it's a dream
worm.
sequence. So, you know,
and the worms they're underwater though.
Bad.
How are the worms going to be dirty
they're probably
underwater?
leeches.
Yeah, I don't know.
They were worms. They were white. But why are they going to be dirty underwater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call.
They're not even going to be underwater.
They drowned those poor worms.
Those are the worms that people were using to catch the haunted bass that just kind of got off the hook.
The haunted bass.
Haunted
Friday the
bass.
13th. I'm telling you.
Haunted bass.
Is that it?
That's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you guys got plugs?
Yeah, just check us out on 22 Shots and Sinbin.
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast. We're all over. We're on YouTube, same as this. And yeah, that's us.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, great time. Great time. Thank you.
It was great. It's fun.
Looks like she's the only one left alive.
What was all that about a lady in the lake?
She must have flipped out. That poor kid's been through hell. Oliver French. I'll take her.